Hello everyone, welcome back to Tiny Bunny episode 3. Ola just disappeared from the room. She probably snuck into my room. I started walking down the corridor. The room was infested with shadows. The blinds were wavering like there was someone hiding behind them. I smiled, sneaked toward the window, and threw open the curtain. Gotcha. There was nobody behind the cloth. The window was a TV screen showing winter scenery. The lamppost, the field, and a couple of walking figures in the middle of it. Alisa and Ola. I gasped and pressed my fist to my mouth, sinking my teeth into it. Alisa was leading Ola into the thicket. I needed less than a minute to hurriedly dress and rush out of the house. My heart was beating like a firing machine gun. The wind carried the cold, resinous smell of coniferous trees from the forest. Freezing air crackled somewhere in that field. Two shadows loomed in front of the gate. I could only recognize them as my sister and the fox girl because of their height. I ran toward the fence, listening to the howling wind and the squeaking snow. One of the figures moved and slowly glided towards the thicket like an ice skater. I slowed down and touched my glasses, trying in vain to adjust my vision to the surrounding darkness. Worry landed on my shoulders like a weightless snowflake. A snake woke up in my belly and started writhing. I felt nauseous. I thought about my home, the flimsy fortress I'd left behind. I finally caught up to my sister, dressed only in a coat. Ola? Have you seen the foxy? Ola, why did you go outside? If Mom finds out... My sister froze in place, facing the taiga. She was in a hand's reach, and I put my numb wrist on her shoulder for some reason. Probably to make sure it wasn't a dream. Fuck! Oh, you motherfucker! A pointy beak was directed at me, strewn with feathers that formed an owl face. Something wearing a bird mask was staring at me. Hoot, hoot, she won't. The voice sounded exactly like Ola's, but there was somebody else hiding behind the feathers in the carton. I sprinted away as if I got whipped. The masked creature only pretended to be Ola, just to lure me out. I was running like crazy, drowning in snow. The house in front of me was rapidly growing. The yellow light in its windows granted me hope. My mom and sister are there, my salvation. I couldn't hear anything from behind me, as if nobody was chasing me. Maybe it's because the owls can fly. I was already climbing the porch when I noticed another figure. From the soot-black shadow of my house, a scruffy wolf cub crawled and stood in my way. Its movements were jerky, chaotic, as if it was performing some terrifying dance, or convulsing during a stroke. And even though I could clearly see that the wolf face was a mask, something in this werewolf's convulsions made me freeze in place. The boy in a wolf's costume rubbed his side against the porch post and fell to his knees. He bent his back so hard I expected his spine to crack. The beast's eyes shone, but he didn't attack. He kept crawling around and running on all fours. I shifted my feet, my mouth agape, trying to keep him in my line of sight. Something was trickling from the slit in the mask. Vicious drips fell to the wooden planks. Saliva. Some unknown force pushed me in the back, whispering me to save myself. The fence was flashing by at the edge of my vision. I was running, in another direction this time, toward the toothy edge of the forest that smelled of pine. My heartbeat measured time. The wolf boy growled behind my back as if he forgot his human nature. My right leg got stuck in the snow-laden cavity. I yanked it out, cursing under my breath, and fell to the ground. Plastering snow prevented me from standing up, from propping myself against anything. But my unbound thirst for life helped me get out of that trap. Darkness was creeping closer, like the toxic fumes of burial pyres. I ran again, gasping for air that stung in my throat. My hair swayed in the wind. I lost my hat when I fell down, and my ears were now hot from the freezing cold, while most of my body was still sweaty. The field finally ended. After realizing that running into the forest wasn't the smartest decision I could make, I dove into the line of trees. I ran without stopping, my face covered with one of my palms. I didn't want to lose an eye to some random branch. Branches whipped my clothes, prickled my skin like butchers that were herding a pig into the grinder. A knot of roots, sprouting from the ground, grabbed at my foot. I rammed into the scratchy trunk, slid down to its base, and looked around in a panic. I have to say I'm a little disappointed in this part. You just kept showing us the exact same sequence of like his face up close running and like the same music, whilst he described in such good detail what he was doing. It could have been still images, like illustrating that. And I think that would have been scarier and just nicer. Phew, you were so fast. My first desire was to dash toward her and hug her. I resisted it and squeezed myself even tighter into the pine. You, what are you doing here? This and that. She was holding the hat I lost. Working part-time and lost and found. Put it on, or your ears will freeze, and maybe even fall off soon. She giggled. I squinted in suspicion and shifted my gaze back and forth between her and the hat, scared that Elisa might be holding a severed head, or something even more sinister. But in the end, my hat turned out to just be my hat. I took it and pulled it over my forehead. Feeling warmer? I didn't reply. There were some children in the yard. And? Did they bite you or something? No. Then why did you run away? The answer was obvious, but after rolling the thought on my tongue, I mumbled. I don't know. Ah, why did I promise to never call you a dunce again? Oh well, I keep my promises. She walked up to me and grabbed me by the elbow. I sensed the familiar aroma of mint, oranges, and burnt sparklers. I wanted to lean into Alice, to savor the minute details of her smell. How many times do I need to tell you? You're safe as long as you're with me. I'm your friend. And they are too. I quickly turned around towards the place the fox girl was pointing to. Kids en masse appeared at the clearing. At least they looked like kids, since they were all pretty short. A wolf boy, an owl girl, and a bear boy. That is Freddy Fazbear. They all huffed and gasped for air, clearly tired from running around. I thought you fell through the snow. Started digging around, but I couldn't find you. And I didn't care enough. You see, if you're dumb, you run around and dig. And if you're smart, you wait until the others get tired of running around and digging. Then you start talking. You're a rat. Degenerate? Huh? Don't mind him, he's a weirdo. I stood there stupefied, my mouth agape and my hands dangling helplessly. I had no idea how to react to the words of these late-night guests, but I managed to squeeze out something resembling a smile. You scared me, that's all. They started looking at each other, and somebody even snorted, as if I said something funny. Yes, the fox is right. He's the one. Now, this is our... Have we finally found him? Our bunny. Yes, he looks the part. Oh, the wolf boy started wagging a part of his costume like it was his tail in excitement. First! Of course you were first. Wolfie here was the first to sense the bunny in you. He told us about you. Hello? And you've already met our Hootie before. She isn't that scary, is she? I guess. And the smiling big guy is Teddy. Be mindful with him or he'll chew off your head. What? I see you've also dropped your sense of humor some way on the way here. This does not fucking explain why he thought the owl was his sister and why it looked exactly like his sister from behind, and now it's like a full outfit owl costume that has a very different silhouette. I was still unsure if these peculiar little animals had the best intentions in mind, so I hid my hands behind my back, trying to look away from the gaping holes in their carnival masks. Elisa put her hands to her sides in a theatrical manner and somehow managed to wink with her fox face. Next time we come, we'll ring bells for you. That way, you'll be less scared of our visit. Do we even have any bells? I won't be ringing. My paw hurts. My smile was no longer fake. Ah, you showed us your teeth. That's a good sign. I didn't expect you to find us fun. I thought it was an emotion reserved strictly to Disneyland. How do you know that? I read about it. Somewhere. You read about me? Aren't you funny? No, about Disneyland, darling. You can read human? Do you think I've been going to school every day for nothing? And then she sang in a coquettish voice. What the fuck is going on? What the fuck? I let out a cautious laugh. My new acquaintances didn't seem scary anymore. On the contrary, they looked friendly and welcoming. There was something about them that attracted me. Just like this clearing, the moon and the snowflakes that fell backwards from the ground to the sky as if someone was rewinding a tape. The masked kids got close and I felt their touch. They gave me friendly taps, felt my clothes as if checking whether I was real. There was no animalistic malice in their touch, only pure childish curiosity. For some reason, I thought to myself, I can trust them. Snowflakes just kept on floating upwards. Nobody will hurt you anymore. And? Yeah, if somebody even tries to. The fox gave me a slight tug and burst out laughing. Well then, Tasha, will you run away screaming or come with us? Where to? To the amusement park. At that moment, Tyga's deceptive silence was broken by the sound of a distant flute. Mesmerizing and alluring. It brought about the ring of crystal glass and the whispers of a fresh winter spring. If I had any doubts before, the flute song shattered the last of them. I started following my new friends before I could even make my decision. My legs carried me of their own free will, and the tunnels made of pines stepped apart. Bushes bowed in front of our processions. Everything looked dreamlike, because even the clearing we ended up in, I only saw in my dream. The flute soared up in the treetops like some fantastical bird. The snowflakes floated up in a spiral. The moon painted tree branches with silver. Elisa gasped in amazement. I was also in awe. I tilted my head backwards as far as I could. Hoot hoot, what a sight! It's so beautiful. Wolfie howled in agreement. This is nothing. I can show you much more, if you want. I did want. I wanted to see what the fox girl saw with her eyes, hidden in the semi-dark of her cape. No, I didn't feel weird about these masked kids. I felt weird for being the only one without a mask. I felt like I was naked in the January winds. Why do you wear these masks? I was trembling, but I wasn't scared. My trembling wasn't caused by the cold. It originated from the peculiar anxiousness, the anticipation of something amazing. And why do you ask? I touched my cold cheek. I'm not wearing one. Haha, I love human tails. Human nails? Human fails. I've already told you. All the villagers wear masks. It's just you won't find anything human underneath them. Even me? You're so clumsy, Anton. We've already found your glasses once already. And your hat. And your real face. I looked at the mask the fox was holding out to me. The bunny mask that looked like a silver ingot under the moonlight. I was curious to see the world through its slits. Suddenly, fighting its way through the flute's melody, a thought came to me. The glasses they found were in Semyon's possession. My new acquaintances must have known what happened to him, or even worse. And where did Semyon disappear to? What happened to him? And the other children? The bear and the owl looked at each other. The wolf boy curled into a ball, and the fox lowered the pointy nose of her mask. The one who was kept in a cage. The one who cuts into little pieces, or... The one who wears a skin face took them. If I knew how to cross myself, I'd do it. So you're saying it was a human? Were you even listening to us? How can you call someone like him human? There's just one word for him. An adult. So easy to get lost in the adult world. Killers, cruel animal trainers, and cold parents. Ah, if you don't want to get sad, better not to think about them. I don't know about you, but I definitely don't want to be sad. Somehow, I'm also not sad today. What about you, Anton? Huh? I was lost in thought, staring at the pines, trying to pinpoint the location of the flute. I was sure that the person who played it was standing right behind the pine in East Arcade. This still doesn't explain so much. Even if somebody else took Semyon, how did you get the glasses? And even when you got the glasses, how did the owl get up to the second-story window and leave them there? Someone tall, going over the holes in the flute with their long fingers. What now? Are we gonna sit and be sad or have some fun? Elisa wanted to show me something. Let's start with the sweet stuff. The fox girl took out a handful of candy from her pocket and handed them to each of the kids. Covers shuffled, the smell of pineapple, cocoa, and melon wafted through the air. The last treat, a chocolate-covered waffle candy, Elisa put right in my mouth. My tongue was engulfed in its spiciness. That was horrible. I felt like my body was covered in fur and small sparks were running along it. I chewed on the waffle and the chocolate, gulped them down, enjoying the vivid taste. Thanks. My gratitude was barely audible because my lips were already touching the insides of a mask. I didn't even notice how I put it against my face. The paper mache was warm. The mask stuck to my skin, giving it a nice prickle. The kind when you dive into a hot bath after being outside in winter, when you lie there and purr from the soapy water. See, I told you, this is yours. Mine. What are we waiting for? The fun won't have itself. You're right. The melody kept swirling in the field like a hurricane. I couldn't wait to release the energy, the heat that this enchanting music was filling me with. The owl jumped and disappeared into the sky. I heard her laughter from somewhere above. Then she landed back, huffing and sighing. You can do it too. Give it a try. I followed suit. My feet tore off the ground. I flew towards the stars like a rocket and screamed from happiness after seeing my friends down below. The wind helped me fly. It felt like I was jumping on a huge trampoline. The stars looked like vivid sparkles that I could reach and lick up. I'm either tripping balls or sleeping. The moon also got closer and then I plunged. I got scared that I'd break my legs for a moment, but my soles landed softly on the ground and I regained my balance. You're safe with us, and all your dreams will come true. I'm so happy I finally found you, Bunny. In a fit of merry laughter, I realized the most important thing. These four are not a threat. My real enemies, and I felt that with every single hair on my mask, were those who knew nothing about magic. Humans from the village. I realized how alive my surroundings have become. I heard the dry grass under the snow moan. I saw faces of the trees and the stars. The trees were smirking and the stars were grimacing in fear. Right. Be scared. I'll jump to you, and I snapped my teeth and let out a jubilant laugh, jumping up along with the fox. We flew higher than the tallest pines and stayed in the air. The sudden color in the world is so fucking weird, isn't it? I swirled. Aliza followed my rhythm. I knew that she was smiling, so I smiled too. And the flute just kept on playing, carrying us higher and higher. Hey, did someone put a spell on you? That someone was standing next to me, I thought, trying to unglue my chin from the desk. My muscles felt slightly sore, but that feeling was pleasant. The whole class was wandering about for some reason, whispering and passing notes to each other. Their faces looked like discolored masks to me, bleak and boring. I yawned, remembering the time I was soaring high above the forest with Elisa by my side, laughing and squeezing my hand. Probably, it was all just a dream. Because I didn't walk back from the forest, just woke up in my bed on a normal morning with tea and medicine. Still, I was hardly worried about trying to find a rational explanation for my night dance. The feeling of flight was much more important. The knowledge of how it feels to be hanging in the air above the treetops of majestic pines and baring my teeth at the moon. Sorry, I got lost in thought. Have you heard about Katya? Huh? I glanced at the empty seat in front of me. Oh, Katya went missing. My sleepiness was gone in an instant. I frowned in suspicion. What do you mean? It can't be. Oh. Oh! Oh shit, that was it. Oh, fuck. I'm so sorry I didn't finish it last time, you guys. I thought there was like an hour more left. Oh. Wow. Okay, the tension building from last time. I really wish I finished it. I'm so sorry I didn't know that it was gonna be that short. What do you think? I don't know. I feel like for the running sequence, more art would have been so much nicer. And I don't know, man. The three missing kids are giving me precisely the wolf, the bear, and the fox vibes. I don't know how that could be, but that was so strange, and it was beautiful with the colors flowing in, but also very trippy. I'm not sure what was going on here. I'm very interested in seeing where the fuck this is gonna go, because I genuinely have no idea. It seems to set up a little bit of an expectation and then just makes it more fairy tale like almost in its horror. I don't know, but I enjoyed it. And I hope you did too. If you liked it, please leave a like down below. It would mean a lot to me. And I'll see you super soon with something else. Thank you for hanging out, and bye for now.